Good evening everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and welcome to a video that I enjoy making every single year. I expose myself a little bit, but I also pat myself on the back for my good purchases throughout the year. But this year, I don't know what's happened, maybe I can't remember some things, but it is definitely leaning in the favour of one side in particular. I had more either pros than cons or cons than pros, if that makes sense. And I was really kind of racking my brains and I thought, should I do the video? But I thought I'm going to tell you some of the things that I really loved this year, throughout 2020. Some things that have brought some little pieces of joy to my world and things that have actually helped me considerably get through the year. Porter's in the kitchen and he can hear me talking in the living room. Ali's going to take Porter into his conference call with him so he's not crying because he can literally hear me through the door. He just plays in the kitchen usually, but the moment that he can hear like one of our voices, he starts crying, so Ali's going to take him in. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my usual format where I don't really stick to any particular rules. I'm just going to show you bits and tell you why they were a good purchase or why they were one of the worst. I'm sure you guys will expose me in the comments down below if I've forgotten anything, but I really racked my brain on this one, and I even went through my Instagram and I tried going through old videos and I couldn't do it. So anyway, let's get into the video. So first up, I'm going to come in with one of my best purchases of 2020. I found this to be one of my most motivating pieces of equipment and technology of the year. I actually ended up finally getting an Apple Watch, and I got it with the Nucleus strap, which to me makes it feel like a real luxury piece. They're real diamonds and they're ethically sourced diamonds that are in the strap, and it works really well with my jewelry that I already have. I have a mix of rose gold and silver and platinum, and this just complements it so well, first and foremost. But the closing the rings function has just taken over my life, and it's really good, especially at times like this when, you know, the world's a bit all over the place. It reminds me that maybe I should get outside and move a little bit more, and it kind of keeps me on my toes, and so much so that now everyone in our office has one of these because it really is so motivating. Carrie's got one, Dee's got one, and we all of us love them so far. So this was something that I really just found myself reaching for so much. And I realised that when something becomes such a huge part of my day, it has to go into this video, and it really has. I'm so glad that Nucleus exists to make this into more of a luxury piece, because I'm not one for the like jelly watch straps or anything like that. I just find them a bit, I don't like them, basically. But it's come into its own again this year in 2021, because now Apple has the Fitness Plus function on the Rings app. And I actually saw this on Amelia's stories, and I couldn't work out how to get it on my phone. You need to update your phone to be able to get Fitness Plus, and Fitness Plus is basically a $9.99 subscription a month, I believe, and you get access to their workout videos. They've got yoga, they've got running, they've got spinning, they've got all of the different things. And one function that I've really grown to, in fact, two functions that I've really grown to appreciate is the burn bar, because it's really motivating when you see that you're kind of leading the pack. It's really cool. And then also it has this function when you finish a workout, do you want to do a mindful cool down? And that is something that I would usually turn my nose up at or just be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that today, I don't have time. But it's like 10 minutes, it takes no time at all, and it really does help. Today I did a 30-minute yoga class and then a 20-minute spin, and I felt amazing afterwards. And it's really good because you can set the parameters of your rings. So I basically set my rings to an area where it means I need to work out in order to close my rings, and that motivates me a lot. And I definitely had, like, towards the back end of last year, a lot of time where I wasn't really feeling that motivated and I was a bit kind of sluggish. And it's good to be back feeling motivated and doing these things and having the technology to really track it, because there's nothing like looking back over your month and seeing all of the days that you worked out and all of the times that you closed your rings, and it's just, I love it. I've just realised I've had it off of my wrist, and I probably won't close my rings now, which is so annoying, but I put it in there because I was like, I must not forget that. So I'll link this down below, and everything from this video will be linked in the description box down below, because I think I've got some really good things in here, and I think I've got some useful things in here as well. So I hope that you pick up some little like useful hints and tips. Okay, next up, I'm gonna go in with a negative, okay? Gucci, Gucci, Gucci. Like, I literally said it in my last best and worst video that I filmed last year, that I shouldn't really be buying any Gucci. At the moment, Gucci just isn't for me. It isn't my style, and I don't know why that is, but it just doesn't work for me. And the biggest thing at the moment is I feel like in 2020 I really learnt a lot about my own style and what it is that I like in fashion nowadays. There's obviously like this really cool trend at the moment for another level of sexy that I just can't achieve, and the girls on Instagram that I'm following at the moment, they're just so edgy and cool, and that was never really me. Does that make sense? Like, when I started blogging and doing YouTube, like, it wasn't the cool girls that were doing this, okay? The cool girls were not sat at home writing in their online journal or their online blog or speaking to a camera and not their friends. And there's a lot of cooler girls on the internet now, and I don't ever feel like I'm one of them. And I feel like Gucci is a cool girl brand at the moment. And I don't think that not being a cool girl brand is not a good thing, if that makes sense. But for me, it just doesn't fit my style, and I have never worn these tights. Not to mention that they are the worst sized tights ever. Like, they fit horrendously. They are so uncomfortable to wear. They're like hanging down, and oh no, they're just awful, and I'm just not cool enough to wear them. I love a monogram print at the best of times, but these are not it for me, so I've actually never worn them, and that's sad considering they are hella expensive. But no, that was a big fail on my part, and considering I said I wasn't going to be buying any, or I was going to try not to buy some Gucci after my Gucci blazer of last year, I failed, but luckily it was only a small purchase and not anything big. This was the only piece of Gucci I believe I purchased in 2020. So yeah, it would have been good if I didn't do it, but I did. So here we are. Okay, next up is a best purchase of 2020. And I have nothing to show for this other than myself. Okay, this is me, and this is because I invested in myself in 2020. So I got myself a lot of help, and I am reaping the benefits of that as we speak. It's been hard doing so in a global pandemic. Taking care of ourselves has been hard for everyone, and self-care has really been like the topic of conversation and things that we've had to remind ourselves to do, because it was so easy to spiral into these quite horrible places and lonely places. And I know that I've experienced them over the last year, and I look back at the person that I was before all of this happened, and I can pinpoint that, the pandemic has affected me, and it's affected my ability to cope and deal. And I made sure that I got help with that. And I know that that's not something that everyone can just do. Sometimes you have to go via the NHS. I obviously chose to take an element of my disposable income and invest it into taking care of myself. So I got myself a therapist. I mean, it's the same therapist I've had for years. She knows my entire backstory, and she's really good because she's got quite a lot of like understanding with people in the public eye as such. And she's got an understanding of everything that I do, and so it's really good that I have her. She's also quite like cut dry, which I really need. I need someone that's like going to tell me straight, and she's really, really good at that. I also got myself an acupuncturist who has basically changed my life. I count down the seconds until I can go and have an appointment. It is just incredible for me and works wonders. I think the energy that I've got right now is because that was something that we focused on in my last appointment, and it's unbelievable, and I'm so grateful to have discovered that in 2020. Again, it's been difficult to have acupuncture in 2020, but I've been able to fit it in places, and it's been a huge, huge help. One of the other things that I invested in myself was a life coach. Now, this was something that presented itself to me. Mark basically was training, and he needed clients in order to pass his training, and he offered me the opportunity to be one of his clients. I am now continuing that on, and I will be paying for my sessions with him because he has such a huge profound impact on the way that I think in terms of business, in terms of my approach to what I do online, my other businesses and things like that. And so he has been a huge help as well in 2020. And so that's something that I am so glad that I went ahead with. And finally, the other thing that I had in my sort of, what was the word, like arsenal of things that I have to help myself is reflexology, which was something I never thought I'd get into, but I have absolutely loved having reflexology in 2020, and it's just been my moment of calm, escapism, and it's been really part of that toolkit that I have in order to help me just with everything that's been going on, because it's been heavy for everyone, some more than others. And yeah, it's been one of those years that we've all been kind of like, wow. And so I think it took us all off guard, and those were just some things that I really wanted to include in this video, because it's a luxury, but it's definitely something that if you have the disposable income in order to put some money aside in order to help yourself a little bit more, then I would strongly suggest it, because it really is so beneficial. I was actually speaking to my GP the other day about my headaches, and I believe that your GP would be able to help you if you were having any kind of issues. If you're thinking of having therapy, I'm sure you're able to get that through your GP, as well as acupuncture and things like that. So it's definitely something to explore with your GP, because I reckon that they could help you a lot. Obviously, I'm not a medical professional, but I'm hoping that it just gives you some idea of where to look and who to contact, because they could probably point you in the right direction. That was one of the ones I was really excited to sort of go into with you. So yeah. Okay, next up is a good purchase, I would say. This was a bag that I was so happy that I purchased. This is my Chanel Pearl bag, and I didn't really have a like black evening bag, and every time lockdown has been lifted, this is the bag that I reach for to go to Woven Mosaic, and it became like my bag of choice in 2020 if ever I got to see people. And so now this bag has and holds so many lovely memories for me that it really has such a special place in my collection that it just gets so much wear. It really does. And even though that we haven't really been going anywhere at the times that we've been able to, this is always the bag, and it holds such a nice amount of stuff whilst also being a really like small size. And it's just got enough of that specialness to it with these big beautiful pearls that it just feels like a little bit more than your average Chanel quilted bag. So this was something that I didn't know that I needed. If you remember, I went in looking for a different bag, and then they showed me this one, and it was love. Basically, it was love. So this definitely was one of my favorite purchases. I think I purchased it at the beginning of last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I got it just before we went to Courchevel, and it has been an absolutely loved piece in my collection. So and I think they're redoing it as well. I've seen a lot more bags with this sort of chain detailing to it. So yeah, I thought I would show you that. Now for a not so good purchase. And honestly, I feel like I was scraping the bottom of the barrel when it came to my not so good purchases, because I feel like I was a lot more responsible with my purchasing this year, and I really did struggle. So this was just one that I could pull out of my wardrobe. So this is a Zimmermann dress, and honestly I fell in love with this dress when I saw it online, and I loved it when I put it on, but in reality it's quite an impractical dress to wear, and it's got a lot of fabric to the hip area, like an unnecessary amount of fabric. This dress didn't need any shape added to it, but they've added a real kind of like hip shape to it, and it just didn't need it. I think the fabric is maybe a little bit too heavy in its weight for this type of dress, and so I think they've tried to obviously make it lined so that you don't have to wear anything underneath it, but it is quite an impractical dress. And these little stitched ruffles, they're really difficult to control and to steam out and make them look good as well. So it's been one that I've loved. Like, I loved it when I saw it, but in reality it just wasn't the right Zimmermann dress. And I think that as much as I love Zimmermann dresses in spring summer, I need to be a little bit more careful that I'm just not buying them because I wear them so much and then realizing that some of them just aren't hitting the mark. But at least it was just the one, and I'm sure that this will be the perfect dress for somebody else. I'm obviously going to be having a bit of a wardrobe clear out very soon, but that was just one that I could pick out and be like, yeah, it just didn't it. It didn't start. So that was that one. Next up, I have this jacket. and it's kind of like more of a coat jacket. This is from Holland Cooper, and since this arrived, I have worn this so many times. I worked with Holland Cooper in 2020, and this was the jacket that I wore for the campaign that I worked on. And I get so many compliments on this. It's like their tweed, I can't remember what it's called actually. It's not their Balmoral. I'll link it down below. But this jacket is a smart but practical coat. Like, I wear this, I'm so warm, but yeah, it looks so lovely. It's got the navy like patches to it, and honestly, I couldn't believe how many of you bought from Holland Cooper thanks to me in just December alone. Like, it was insane, and it was so nice to show you a different side to the brand. Like, I felt like I was really showing you their like heritage pieces, which I was really excited to do. The ones that have like slightly more subtle branding, they're just so much more me, and this jacket is one of them. Like, all it has is this really beautiful suede embroidered patch on the back that has the CH in it, and this whole collection, it's my favorite, and I constantly shop the Holland Cooper website myself. I buy from them myself, and I have really become a huge fan, and this jacket is just a winner. I want it in the other color, but of course they're sold out. If they do come back into stock, I will let you guys know, but for the moment I wanted to give this a mention because it is just such a great jacket. It's going to see so much wear when I take Porter out on walks, and I'm a very happy camper with that one. So next up, we're going to go in with, this is something that I just had to mention, okay, because as you can see, I'm wearing a jumper dress now, and you'll probably recognize this jumper dress. This is my Nasty Gal jumper dress, and this isn't a luxury piece at all. I have luxury jumper dresses. I have not luxury jumper dresses. This is an H&M one. If it's in stock, I'll link it down below. But jumper dresses have got me through lockdown as well. They've got me through this weird winter that we've just been through, because if you're new around here, you might not know, but I am someone that when I wake up in the morning, I have to get up, I have to get dressed, because otherwise I don't get anything done. And I wish I could lounge around, I wish I could, but I can't. And jumper dresses have been my uniform of choice. It makes me feel like I'm dressed in the morning, but I feel comfortable. I just pop them on with some really nice cozy tights. If I need an extra layer underneath, I'll either put a cami from Intimissimi, or I'll pop a like cashmere base layer that they do. They are all that I wear in winter. And if I want to feel a little bit more shapely, I will add a belt. Today I'm wearing my Hermes black and palladium belt. But yeah, these have just got me through and been my uniform, and you might be sick of me wearing them by now, but for me, it really helps me in getting up, being comfortable, but being warm at the same time. And so shout out to jumper dresses, because I owe you a lot, okay? There were many mornings when I didn't want to get up and get dressed, but you were there for me. So thank you very much. And then we have, and I don't think any of you are going to be surprised to see this one, and hear me out, okay? Hear me out, because this was a 2020 purchase, and when I was purchasing it, I felt sick. I didn't feel like I was, I don't know, it didn't feel, I don't know why it didn't feel good, but it just didn't feel good. I think it was because of everything that was going on. I felt guilty and things like that, but I love this bag, okay? I love it, but I haven't worn it. And it's not a trend bag, so for me, that's what I'm so proud of myself, that there's been no trend bags purchased this year. I didn't cave and get the Bottega Veneta pouch bag with the chain. I didn't cave and get any Amina Mawadi shoes. I didn't cave to trends, okay? And I feel really proud of the fact that I didn't do that. And this is still such a classic bag for me that I know eventually I will wear it. But it's also, again, much like the Chanel bag that has such happy memories, this bag has some sad memories attached to it, because I think that when I bought this bag, I think I realized how low and sad that I was at the time. And so I think that this is like a bit of a memento to that time, and that I made it through it. But still, considering my Lady Dior in the pink is one of my best ones that I've ever purchased, and I've worn it so much, I definitely think that this bag will get its day and its wear. I love green, and I wear so much green, but what I think it is that I like wearing green in clothing. When it comes to accessories, I tend to go for more neutrals in terms of like blacks and browns and nudes. And so I think that's where I missed the mark on this one. But it's not going to be one that I'm selling, because at this moment in time, it's a bag shape that I wear, and I'm confident that it will get its day. I will be selling some bags. I know that as soon as I get my Hermes Kelly, I've got a few bags I think I will sell at that point. So watch this space. But anyway, we have three more, I guess, because I also want to shout out for a little homewares. I want to shout out my LV trunk because this was definitely one of my best purchases last year. It brings me endless amounts of joy. It is just so beautiful and it makes this room. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to buy any more. I don't know. I feel like the one in the office works so well and the one in here works so well. I don't want to overkill it, but at the same time I would love one in our bedroom. But they're so expensive and I don't know, but I just don't want them everywhere in my house. They are such a piece that like people come in and they're just a beautiful talking point. Obviously they have so much history in them. It's fascinating learning about your individual trunk. But for me, every time I sit here in my living room, I'm like, that little piece there just sparks so much joy. So I wanted to give them a bit of a shout out. And then I wanted to give a shout out to my diary and my journal. These are both from Spicin. This one actually featured last year when I had the green one. This is the new one and I actually got it personalised. You might have seen that Ali got me this for our anniversary. I wanted to shout out in this because planning my days is such a huge thing and both of these are important in that. This is in terms of work and this is in terms of me. Writing down 3 things that I am grateful for a day in this little diary here is such a wonderful part of my morning when I get to sit in my bed with a cup of coffee. Usually Lumi is snoozing on the bed and Porter will be in his crate next to me and it's just such a beautiful way to start the day. And I think that personally that's something that I want to continue into this year and do more of because it's so hard to start a day negatively when you've sat there and thought about 3 things that are just so wonderful. So I wanted to shout out to these. Obviously these are bougie. These are luxury ones. You can do it in an old tatty like notebook if you want to, but I am in love with this brand and their stationery. One of the things I want to order for next year is personalised Christmas cards for like our family. I think that would just be so wonderful and I was looking at them this year and I was too late to order them, so that's something I am going to do because I just love, smart stationery. And yeah, so I thought I would give those a shout out. And then the last one, finally we can call it a day, the last one, and I know that this was a fairly recent purchase, but these Prada boots, honestly I am so happy that I ordered these and it's so lovely seeing how many other people have gone and ordered these as well because oh my goodness, they are the boots that I didn't know I needed. I love my Dewberry boots, but they really are like my going into the fields, muddy, dirty, like they're covered in sheep's poo from around the area. And I kept wanting to wear them because I loved the tones of them. Well, these are now the sort of like more dressy and smart equivalent, and I have worn these to death. Like the cost per wear already for these in a month is another level, and they really do fit my style at the moment. My style has definitely matured in 2020, I hope, and I love looking back at like old photos when I first started vlogging at the things that I used to wear. It's so funny. And looking at what I wear now, and those Prada boots are expensive. They're an expensive purchase, but my goodness, are they durable and they are beautiful. I get so many compliments whenever I do get out to see people, which obviously at the moment I'm not. But yeah, they're a real kind of statement piece, and they go so perfectly with my Hermes bag that it was like meant to be. So yeah. So those are my best and worst purchases of 2020. I would love to know whether you had any bad or good purchases in the year as well. I would love to hear more of those in the comments down below. Obviously, I will probably see some things you'll be like, didn't you buy this, Lydia? And I'll be like, oh yeah. But I kind of put this together, and I've been making notes over a few weeks to put this together, but I'd love to know what you think, and if you purchased any of these items, and if you love them yourself, if you don't love them, let me know in the comments down below. And other than that, I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, enjoy. Bye.